In the thick jungles of northern Colombia, where the trees stood like silent witnesses to decades of violence, a young boy named Dairo Antonio Usuga began a journey he never chose. The world around him was shaped by fear, villages raided at night, families disappearing without explanation, and whispers of armed groups echoing through the mountains. For many children in these forgotten corners of the world, survival began with surrender, and Dairo was no different. By the time he reached his teenage years, he was already surrounded by rifles, hidden camps, and commanders who believed emotions were weaknesses that needed to be crushed. Every step he took into the jungle pushed him further away from innocence and deeper into the machinery of war. And yet, even in these early years, no one could have predicted that this quiet, watchful boy would rise to become the most feared criminal in Colombia, known as Otoniel, the ruthless king of the Gulf clan. His journey, stamped with blood, betrayal, and a desperate hunger for power, would eventually shake nations and force the world's strongest law enforcement agencies into a relentless manhunt. And as we begin this story, remember, legends aren't always born in luxury. Sometimes, they rise from the shadows of terror. If you want to go deeper into these dark chapters of human history, make sure you subscribe, because what you're about to hear is only the beginning. As Dairo grew older, he didn't escape violence, he mastered it. First recruited by Marxist guerrillas, then later shifting to right-wing paramilitaries, he learned the brutal arts of war from every side of Colombia's conflict. He understood how to disappear without leaving footprints, how to command men with fear instead of respect, and how to move like a ghost through the jungle. Every faction that trained him unknowingly sharpened him into a weapon that would one day be pointed at them all. By the early 2000s, he had abandoned ideology completely. For him, war wasn't political, it was a path to power. That was the moment he joined the criminal underworld, stepping directly into the heart of Colombia's drug empire. The cocaine routes were vast, the profits unimaginable, and the jungle offered the perfect cover for a man who had spent his life learning to hide. As Dairo rose in rank, whispers spread, this man was colder, more calculating, and more patient than any who came before him. If you're feeling the tension building, keep watching, and don't forget to subscribe, because the storm is just starting. By 2012, the world knew his name, Otoniel, supreme leader of the Clan del Golfo. His cartel operated like a military kingdom, thousands of soldiers, hidden camps, submarines for drug transport, and networks stretching from Colombia to Central America and into the United States. But what made him truly dangerous wasn't just his power, it was his invisibility. For almost a decade, Otoniel vanished into the jungle like he was part of the earth itself. Every attempt to catch him ended in failure. He had scouts in the trees, informants in towns, and safe houses hidden beneath the roots of ancient forests. This was a man who learned the jungle the way a sailor learns the sea. He knew its sounds, its shadows, its secrets. Even high-tech American surveillance drones struggled to locate him. And as the world watched Colombia drown in violence, one question remained: how do you catch someone who feels more like a legend than a man? If this mystery is pulling you deeper, hit subscribe, because soon, the legend begins to crumble. The Colombian government, backed by U.S. intelligence, launched a mission unlike anything seen before, Operation Agamemnon, a multi-year, relentless pursuit designed to shatter every piece of Otoniel's empire. Thousands of soldiers marched into the jungle. Helicopters circled the mountains day and night. Every safe house he owned was blown apart. Every ally he trusted was captured, flipped, or eliminated. The news surrounded tightened with each passing month. But Otoniel adapted. He stopped using phones, stopped sending messages. He lived like a hunted animal, moving at night, drinking from rivers, sleeping on dirt, and surviving on the very jungle that once crowned him king. But even animals get exhausted. Even kings bleed. And as he began losing weight, losing followers, and losing control, his empire started collapsing from the inside. If you feel the chase intensifying, stay with us, and subscribe, because the fall is coming. For years, Otoniel relied on a small circle of loyal soldiers. But when the military destroyed his camps one by one, loyalty turned into fear. Men who once praised his name now whispered about abandoning him. The jungle he once ruled narrowed into a cage. His health deteriorated, infected feet, fever, and hunger slowly consuming his strength. In the end, even the mighty Gulf clan could not protect him from the thousands hunting him. And yet, the most dangerous moment for any fugitive isn't when he's strong, it's when he's desperate. Otoniel kept moving, crawling through mud, hiding beneath fallen trees, and praying the military would overlook the trembling figure he had become. This is the moment where villains transform into tragedies. And as you keep watching, remember, your support helps bring more stories like this to life. Subscribe to continue the journey. On October 23, 2021, after nearly 10 years on the run, the jungle finally betrayed him. AU.ASTA, Colombian task force tracked his location using satellite imagery and informant intercepts. Helicopters thundered above the forest, soldiers descended like a wall of steel, and every path of escape was sealed. Surrounded, exhausted, and too weak to run, Otoniel faced a truth he had avoided his entire life. There was nowhere left to hide. As troops closed in, the world held its breath. Would he fight? Would he attempt one last desperate escape? Instead, something unexpected happened. The man who caused thousands of deaths simply raised his hands and surrendered. No gunfire. No final explosion. Just a broken king stepping down from a ruined throne. If that twist hit you hard, subscribe, because the emotional fallout is just beginning. The photos of his capture spread instantly. A once feared warlord now looked fragile, almost unrecognizable. But the most shocking part was yet to come. Otoniel allegedly attempted to smile during his arrest, some say out of relief, others say out of disbelief that his reign had truly ended. For the first time in decades, Colombia exhaled. But victory came with a price. His cartel retaliated across multiple regions, burning buses, threatening civilians, and creating waves of fear. It was their message to the world: the king may fall, but the kingdom survives. And this moment serves as a reminder: when darkness loses its leader, it does not always die, it fights harder. To follow more deep true crime insights, make sure you subscribe. International pressure mounted immediately. The United States demanded extradition, citing Otoniel's involvement in drug trafficking that poisoned American streets. Families of victims in Colombia wanted justice at home, fearing that extradition meant losing the truth behind decades of violence. Protests erupted. Politicians argued. The nation split in two. Yet, in the end, the law moved forward. Otoniel was placed in a heavily guarded convoy and transported to Bogotá's airport. Every second of that journey was a battle against potential ambushes. Cartels had attacked extradition convoys before. But this time, the government refused to take risks. When the plane finally took off, Colombia felt both relief and dread. And if you're feeling the weight of these moments, subscribe, because the final chapter is near. In the United States, Otoniel faced a courtroom unlike any battlefield he had survived. Evidence filled the room: documents, testimonies, intercepted calls, survivors' stories. Families of victims sat silently behind him, carrying decades of grief in their eyes. Prosecutors described him as a man who built empires from blood, who destroyed communities, and who controlled an army larger than some countries' militaries. As he listened, something inside him seemed to break. Gone was the defiant warlord. In his place sat a tired, aging man facing a lifetime behind bars. The jungle could protect him. His soldiers could protect him. His money could protect him. But American justice could not be escaped. And if you feel that shift, the fall of a titan, then join us by subscribing. More deep, powerful stories await. In 2023, the verdict came: 45 years in U.S. federal prison, effectively a life sentence. The doors of the maximum security facility closed behind him with a final metallic echo. A man once feared across continents now wakes up every day in a small concrete cell, far from the jungle that raised him. There is no army waiting outside. No radio calls. No escape plan. Only silence. And in that silence, one truth remains: even the most powerful criminals eventually face judgment. This story isn't just about a kingpin's downfall, it's about the thousands who suffered, the families who waited for justice, and the hope that someday, Colombia's jungles will echo with peace instead of war. If this journey moved you, please like, comment, and subscribe. Your support keeps real stories alive.